Hello everyone and welcome to week 2, module 2. Okay, today, I'm going to go over with you what we need to do for module 2, how we need to proceed, and how we should organize our time. So I'm here in module 2. I'm going to switch to student view here. I like to do so we can all be looking at the same thing. Okay, so this is module 2. Okay, please read this brief discussion of sustainable citizenship. And let's just go through the elements of the module. First off, for the learning objectives for this week, we're going to explain how you go about becoming a sustainable citizen, identify what makes each individual a stakeholder in the community, and outline a vision of a sustainable community. To this end, we are going to be reading both the first and the last chapter in the text, chapters 1 and 12, which I think do a really great job of bookending the material. Okay, so it's in our text. Chapter 1 begins, or chapter 2 and 12. Is it 1 and 12? Yeah. Chapter 1 begins on page 2, and chapter 12 begins on page 382. So we've got chapter 1 is a people-centered and accountable government, and chapter 12 is a nation that shines. So let's see. Here's the module overview. Okay. Basically, it talks about a new paradigm of being a citizen. Often, the way being a citizen is depicted in our everyday society in the media is that we need to vote and shop. I think that's what the textbook presents. This talks about sustainable community development, not just the environment is a key part, but in a moment I'm going to go over what social institutions are and how they might play into this. But that's the first element of module 2. Okay, so here's our discussion. Write an analysis and state your views on the 3 of the subheadings in text chapter 1. That's again, the chapter on a people-centered and accountable government. It really talks about a radical paradigm shift in terms of the political economy of the United States. Okay, so we already have somebody who posted. That's great. Okay, but let's and I'm going to be responding to your posts, right? So I'm a little late in getting this up. Apologies. The next thing is a journal, your journal supplement, a sustainable citizen. Create a description based on reading chapters 1 and 12 of what a sustainable citizen is and what makes one a stakeholder in the community. And that could be anything in terms of political science, indexes that we actually use as social scientists to survey political participation. It can go as it goes from 1 at the very end, you've registered to vote, and then 2 is you voted, 3 is you've donated or money or volunteered to a grassroots effort, and all the way up to running for political office. Okay. Okay, so that's the journal, and then a key to this is the first of our project milestone. That's the first one. Submit a proposed topic for your final project to the instructor for approval. And I'm going to go here. Let's review together the final project document. Okay, hello. I was having I'm always having challenges with getting these PDFs to load. Here we go. Okay, here's the following sample questions and topics. Notice that you don't have to write about all of these. These are kind of what we call thought prompts, okay? What is community-supported agriculture, okay? Okay, given the climate, what can be grown? Community sustainability, okay? We're looking at this, okay? And we have elements that you need to submit in modules 2, 3, 5, and 7, okay? You're going to submit a project. This is just an example. It's a sample question, okay? So, it could be, for this, we're talking about a lot of community gardens and so forth. But please, remember, this is a sample. We want to see from your reading what you think. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about agriculture or, the physical environment, although it certainly can be, right? Here's where you have to innovate. You have to think about a topic. This is a sample question. Okay. And so, can volunteer parents aid in school enhance the academic career, of students while helping to keep educational costs within a sustainable range? And here's some questions, okay? So here we go. Here's some possible topics. Water management, waste management, green space, zoning, energy, transportation, the education system, housing construction, security, welfare. They talk about local political involvement, and so forth, okay? So really here's where this is the chance for you to innovate and thrive. Begin now to think about this, okay? Here are the deliverable milestones, okay? And basically, the overall project, remember, has two elements. One is kind of a narrative, like a paper, like almost like an executive summary or a research paper. The other one is, is a presentation. And the two things should be holistic. In other words, one should inform the other. Think about what we're doing is modeling an academic conference paper or a presentation to the community. I want you to take a moment and look at, these examples. They're great examples. And then look at the course rubric here, okay? So that's the final project document. Okay. Now, I want to introduce to you a concept that may be useful to you. Let me pause for a moment and pull up the PowerPoint. Okay, one way to think about this is from sociology, of course. I'm a sociology professor. So what I would consider, if I were looking at this and working on these projects, as you are, is the idea of a social institution. Dream of a Nation, your textbook, is broken down into these social institution topics. They're also called, sometimes we call them institutional sphere. That's just interesting language. We're talking extensively, at least in chapters 1 and 2 and 12, and throughout the book, of a couple of major ones. If we look at the environment, for example, the environment and how it is organized in terms of our stewardship or lack of stewardship or super exploitation by self-interested large entities or whatever you want to think about, that has to do with the economy, okay? The economy is a social institution that organizes a society's production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. Politics, what we're going to be looking at really essentially in chapter 2, is a social institution that distributes power, sets a society's goals, and makes decisions. Power is the ability to achieve desired ends despite resistance from others. One element I think that we need to keep in mind as we read through the material is this. Power, right now, coalesces around major corporations, lobbyists, people that have enough financial wherewithal to influence election outcomes, okay? What the book is arguing for is a sort of citizen take-back of that process, okay? So, and remember that government is a formal organization that directs political life. It makes decisions. It's not about small government versus big government. It's about effective government. That's the key. That's the thing that we want to keep in mind, when we're talking about politics, okay? It has to do with authority. Who has the authority? Basically, it's power that people perceive as legitimate rather than coercive. We live in, for better or worse, in what we call rational legal authority. It's power legitimized by rationally enacted law. The argument that's made in Chapter 2, though, is that the people who have, or the entities that have kind of usurped this system are all acting in their own self-interest. This is what's called bounded rationality. So I hope this little tour of social institutions informs your reading of your 2 chapters and your discussions, and hopefully a consideration of your final topic. Please feel free to email me with any questions. Some of you have asked technical questions, and I've responded by asking that you contact IT. I don't know about why you can't download something or that sort of thing, but I'd be happy to pass you the information on to those people here at SNHU who can help you. Have a great week, and I'm really looking forward to diving into your discussions.